Welcome, everybody. I'm Dwayne Davison on behalf of the Valparaiso International Center, the VIC. Welcome to our Fourth Friday event. Tonight's presentation is on Ghana, of course. So, strangely enough, we have done over 60 different countries, and we've done Ghana once before. Do you remember that, young man?
I have tried to forget. I'm kidding.
Gotcha.
Yes, I remember.
We have a couple of pictures over there from that presentation. Strangely enough, I didn't even know you were here until I looked that direction. Paul has been to Ghana to work on a affordable housing project that he created here in Valpo with the presenter Yusuf all those years ago. And we also had, I invited him, a guy named Richard who has a chocolate shop in Valpo and bought all of his chocolate from Ghana. He is he's working 12 hours a day producing holiday chocolates for everybody. They're from Ghana. Evolution is the name of the chocolate company on Calumet. I agree, but yes. But we will have Ghanaian food a little bit later. As everyone who comes to these events knows, we always have something representative of the country. Okay, you pointed out here, this must be the Ghana section, because 5 at least, if not 6 of you have been to Ghana, is that right? Raise your hands if you've been to Ghana. Okay, there. Anybody over here? Okay, so Team A against Team B. Okay, these guys are going to get all of the trivia questions, I think. So, if you are a first-timer, welcome. We have an email list over there. Please feel free to put your contact info there. Otherwise, we are on valpovic.org, valpovic.org. We have our last 2 years of presentations on recordings that you can see through our website. Tonight will be no different, so you can go home and watch this later if you like. It should be up, usually, Kevin, we get that up by Sunday night or so. So very good. Anyone, if you've listened to NPR, National Public Radio, there was a reporter that was the Africa bureau chief, and she was from Ghana. And I was always intrigued by her. She would say, I don't remember her name, but I'm Tristan from Accra. Does anybody else remember that? I always thought she was just talking normally and then she'd say, Accra, like that. How would you pronounce Accra?
It's Accra.
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 Just, that's more Americanized.
No. That is how it's pronounced. I don't know what she was talking about.
Right. So look in the NPR archives for this. I was always intrigued by that. But so one other thing to mention here, no Fourth Friday next month due to the holidays, all right? And we will see you back here in January. If you're on our email list, you will get an invite. If you're not, you have to go to the website or social media or be invited. So otherwise, we're glad you're here. So tonight's presentation on Ghana is brought to you by Benjamin Osafo, goes by Ben. Know the family through his lovely wife, Tasha, friend of mine through Special Olympics, and they are married now for 27 years, was it? Yes. I heard the story of how they met, and not surprisingly, it was totally different from each of them, how they met. One, and that is true, right? And I guess one thing that remains the same, apparently Tasha is a queen, right? Yeah. Yes, actual queen, because in West Africa, prince, princess, king, queen are thrown around, but she's actually a queen. Right. So there you go. You'll hear more about all of that later. So one last thing. After we're finished, we will clean up and put the chairs away. We'll put some tables out for you to sit and have some authentic Ghanaian food. Feel free to look at the display over there, socialize, meet Ben and Tasha. And I will also say that Elijah, their son, was here and has disappeared. And then also Tasha's sister, Tracy, is here as well. So welcome, everybody. And here's Ben Osafo.
Thank you, Dwayne. Oh, okay. I like to be free, you know. So, thank you, Dwayne, for the invitation, and thank you to the Valparaiso International Center for inviting me to come and present my lovely home country, Ghana. And I'm going to start by, there was another Ghana presentation by another guy. You know, the way I see Ghana is, I come from a very different Ghana. You know, not everybody is like me. I was privileged coming out of Ghana. Not everybody is like me. So I see, the way I see Ghana is different than everybody else will tell their story. My story is totally different because some of us were privileged coming out of Ghana. And I come to America was different. You know, I didn't come to America for riches or for anything. That's not why we came to America. Some people, they didn't have nothing. Okay, so that's my perception of, you know, how my Ghana is different. And I came here when I was 21 years old, and I've been in America for 48 years. So I do understand America. Okay, so the way I'm going to tell the story will be very, very true according to how my life and I see the story. Okay, so here we go. We're going to start by talking about the history of Ghana and how it really became Ghana. You know, so wife, I have to thank my wife too. No, wait. She did all the work. She put everything together. So I want you all to just give it, yes. You know, she's always the backbone of the family. So I appreciate her so much. She's been so great. And through all this, she knows Ghana more than I do. You know. So welcome to Ghana. In Ghana, and I know those of you who've been to Ghana, the first thing that you see at the airport, your welcome is Akwaba, right? They say to you, Akwaba. Welcome is Akwaba. That's the first thing any Ghanaian will say to you when they see you. It's Akwaba. You all say Akwaba. That means welcome. And it's just normal. If you don't hear Akwaba, then you are not in Ghana. You know. So Akwaba, welcome to Ghana. And the country Ghana, really exciting. And I'm just finding it out because when you are in Ghana, they don't teach you so much. They just surface teach us that. But Ghana has been in existence. The land where the people resided have been in existence over thousands of years, okay? You know, like people inhabited were living there thousands of years before the British and all the colonialists came in. We call them colonialists, okay? The colonial, they came to colonize the country. And I have a lot to talk about it. So in this map, this is Ghana right here, okay? And this is where I grew up at, Accra. Accra is the capital of Ghana, you know? And as you can see, the Atlantic Ocean is right there. That's the coast of Ghana. And then on the side is the Gulf of Guinea. So Ghana on the south is the Atlantic Ocean, and then the Gulf of Guinea. You know, you all know it's on the west side of Africa, west coast of Africa, right? So you look at the Côte d'Ivoire. You know, we always used to call it Ivory Coast. They changed it to Côte d'Ivoire. So Côte d'Ivoire is on the east, and then Togo is bounded by Togo on the west, and then on the north is Burkina Faso. So Ghana's population really is around about 35 million today, But when you look at it, Ghana is divided into like different regions. And it's 16 regions in the country. And regions will be pretty much like, towns within the state. Then they have counties will be like, they have counties, then they have metropolitan different segment for political, demarcation. So this is the different type of regions, and I don't really know too much about the names of regions because it changed, when they started the democratic government. Okay, so most of it, the only ones we knew when we were growing up was the Western region, the Greater Accra region, the Eastern region, the Volta region, and the Ashanti region, and the Upper Volta and Upper West. Like we knew a few of them, but most of them have been, re-demarcated for political stability in the country, So then we go to Ghana's history. The ancient Ghana, it's interesting that I just found this out because it blew my mind when I found it out, okay. The early kingdom of Ghana existed from about 300 to 1100 BC. Can you imagine way before? There were people living there. People were okay. They were doing fine. And I have to bring this up because the Africans were doing great. This was some of the biggest empires that were ruling Africa. People had their kings, they had their system of governance, they have everything. They were doing fine. They were doing fine, and then we found out that the empire that existed before the country Ghana came about was called Ouagadougou. Ouagadougou Empire. So these were empires, and then, the name Ghana really was derived from a king who was the head of the empire, and Ghana is a Soninke word translation as strong warrior king. These people always named, and in my research, I feel that they always name stuff that makes them feel confident and bold and strong and powerful. So the name Ghana, when I heard that, I thought, I was like, wow. That's why I'm always like confident in trying to push people away from all this stuff, So Ghana means that strong warrior king. Ooh, I feel really good about it, So this was before the Europeans came, okay? And I have two words that God put on my spirit. Like in life, I discovered that there are two types of people. Two types of humans, okay? The Abel people and the Cain people. And we all know, if you know anything about the Bible, there was a Abel who God approves, and Cain got jealous and killed Abel. So they are the good and the bad. Okay, they are the good people and the bad people. So in my narration, I'm going to just use Abel and Cain to describe what happened to this beautiful empire that was living before the Cains came in. Okay, that's the Europeans. Okay, and go to the next one. And then in the early European contact and the slave trade, these who were living, this is 1400. In the 1400, somebody somewhere, and I call him a Cain because of what I'm about to go through, decided, let's go to Africa and let's go find some riches and let's go destroy the land and let's go steal and let's go do all kinds of, bad things, okay? So these Europeans decided to go, and it was the Portuguese who started. The Portuguese came to, the empire. It wasn't called Ghana then. So when I use the word Ghana, I'm talking about after the fact, okay? So the Portuguese arrived in the coast of Guinea, and the first European, when they came, they called the whole place Gold Coast. And the reason why they called it Gold Coast was the fact that Ghana had a lot of gold. You know, so they came with the intention that they were coming to come and rob these people of their precious resources, which is they got gold, you know, they got all that stuff. Then in the end, they found out, wait. They got a lot of people too. We can use them for labor. You know, and this is where the slave trade started. You know, and excuse me, I got really pissed off when I saw this, really pissed off. You know, because they were taking the resources out of the country and were giving the people nothing. They give them guns and just some few goods. And I'm like, wait a minute here. What were these people thinking? You had an empire, you were doing fine, and you let a few people come in there and they come to rob you and take you and they don't give you nothing. Then they found out that, oh, we can use their people. And that's when they built these castles. You know, they built the castles where they were going to, you know, import the Africans into their different countries and enslave them, you know. But there was one empire in Ghana. These people, they are called Ashantis. And when I was growing up in Accra, I didn't interact with the Ashantis that much until I came to Chicago. And for some reason, I was drawn to them. I became friends with them. They are gorgeous people. Like, they are so proud. And their traditions. These Ashantis, when we were growing up in Ghana, they told us that the Ashantis are people that they are warriors. You know, when they were the only ones that fought the British and never gave up. You know, and one thing I realized that they always go in thousands when they fight. And they tell the British, you kill 1,000 of us, trust me, another 1,000 will come. And then you kill that 1,000, another 1,000 will come. So we came to understand that, wow, these Ashantis were, you know, very proud people. They fought the British. There was like 5 different wars that they really resisted the British, you know. And the reason why they resisted the British was that there was this lady by name Ya Asantewaa. Ya Asantewaa was a very proud queen of the Ashantis, brave and strong. And she found out that these people were taking our people, they took our gold, and we ain't getting nothing for it. So she put an army to resist, you know, the British, you know, type of invasion. So then they came to find out that these Ashantis have a golden stool. This story about this golden stool is interesting. When I was a kid, there was a story told about a golden stool from the Ashanti people, right? And they told us, and this is my version of what that there was a high priest who showed up. He was part of the Ashantis, and he commanded a golden stool from heaven and landed on the lap of the king then. A golden stool. So, you know how, you know, that's really strange, but it's true. There was a golden stool. But he commanded it to come from heaven, and it came down on the king. So the Ashantis really honored that golden stool as a pride thing. And then the British people found a head about the golden stool. So they were determined, the governor of the British guy was determined that he wanted to sit on the golden stool. But only the king is allowed to sit on the stool. So he was going to defy the stool by sitting on it, whatever he had in pride. So he started a war with them, just to sit on the stool. And he didn't find it pretty, you know. They never found the stool because there was some kind of mystical powers with the stool, you know. So in the end, they were able to conquer Ya Asantewaa, and the only thing they could do was that they shipped her out of her own country. They shipped her into Seychelles Island. Seychelles Island is an island way back there somewhere in the west coast around the Sahara Desert on the ocean. They took her and the people, and she lived there till she died in 1921. You know, a queen mother of the Ashantis. You know, the British took her and dumped her over there. So the golden stool is a very interesting symbol for the guy who commanded that stool. In my mother's hometown, right, he has a sword that he put on the ground. And up to today, no human being can put the sword out. And I went and looked at the sword with my own eyes. So as mystical and strange as it sounds, the guy has some powers. Up to today, you can go look at the sword. And they've tried, no matter how they try, the sword cannot be pulled out from the ground. And his name is Okonfo Anoche. And when they say Okonfo, it's somebody who prophetizes stuff, and very strange guy, but very interesting story. And then now we go back to the British rule, how the British decided that they were going to go into, these African territories and divide and conquer and rule. So the British and a couple of other countries made up their mind that Africa was so precious, so they will have to divide it. So they started putting, borders, and they didn't care if, like, they put a border right here and these people would belong to them. And they just put a border, they just put borders, whatever, and they called it whatever they want to call it, And it was very bad for the African because, during the Ouagadougou Empire, it covered a vast range of the land. The empires were like covering the whole West Africa. It was a united type of, country. But then they had to divide into pieces and bits. You, the French, you take Ivory Coast. You, the British, you take here. And we take here, we take there, that. So when I really go through this, I was very emotional about it. Because, after living in America so long, and I look back at it, I'm like, wait. What was going on with the people over there and what they were thinking? And it's interesting that these British people did not do nothing for the country. They took all their wealth. They did not build no infrastructure. They didn't put no electricity. They didn't do nothing. They wiped the country clean without doing anything. So they still ruined the country till, fortunately, the Second World War happened. And they decided to take 60,000 Ghanaians to go fight in the war. And the Ghanaians went to fight in the war. And after they came back, their thinking changed. Like, wait a minute. We went and fought for a liberation of a country we don't know nothing about. Then we can liberate our country. So they were trying to save themselves, but they did a good to the people of Ghana by sending their people to the Second World War. So when they came back, this is where the revolution of taking back the land, the rise of nationalism started to rise. And then there was some educated Ghanaians, we call them the Big Six. These were the smartest educated Ghanaians. They decided to ask the British about land rights. How come this is our land? we own nothing, you own everything. So that's not fair. And we don't have no control in the government. And you telling us, but you're not doing nothing for nobody. So they realized that, and the Big Six, they started the movement in 1920. That's when nationalism started. The name Ghana has not been introduced yet, right? They called it the Gold Coast. At this time, it's called the Gold Coast, and that's the map you showed me. Yeah, and so these guys over here are like heroes in Ghana because they brought the nationality mentality to the people of Ghana. And luckily, there was one great guy that is all, if you meet any African and you say you are from Ghana, the first thing they mention is his name. His name is Kwame Nkrumah. And Kwame Nkrumah, excuse me. Kwame Nkrumah was chosen by God. As a matter, he went to school in Chicago, went to school in Massachusetts. He studied over here. And at the time when he was here studying, that's when all the, the fight for, emancipation of slavery, to eradicate slavery, all these things were going on here. So he saw exactly what had happened to his country, what has happened to the, African Americans over here. They had to fight for everything. So by some God-chosen mentality, he became the guy who left the United States and went home to help the big six revolutionize and start fighting back to kick, the Europeans out of the country, And it's interesting because when my father died, that's when we found out that he was the very first person who started a political party in Ghana. My father did. How he thought about it, I don't know. But I saw his, campaign slogan and everything. But fortunately, when this man came into the picture, my father stepped back. My father was educated, was smart. So he stepped back because he saw this guy was passionate, he was eloquent, he was preaching to the people, and he was telling the people what their rights was. He was telling the British how wrong they are, all the stuff that they didn't want to hear. So they threw him in jail. And they threw all the big six in jail because they were disturbing their peace. But unfortunately, the Ghanaians had gotten the message, so the streets were not at peace. There was a lot of rows all over the place, to try to kick the British out and stuff. So Kwame Nkrumah formed a political party called a CPP, the Conventional People's Party. And he was not liked by the British because he was educated and lived abroad and saw a lot of things that were going on that he thought it was his right to try to be the leader, in the nationalist campaign. So along the line, in my music production, career, a friend of mine by accident sent me speeches that he gave, and one that he gave at the Independence, and I decided to do a musical tribute to him. So I'm gonna get to it and play it, and it's hip hop. It's my style of blending American and Ghana music in a very modern type of state, just for tribute. It's never released. I had to rush to mix it a little bit to bring it, because if I release it in Ghana, probably everybody would think I'm because I did a tribute to his speech, So that if you can play it for a minute. This is in a language. The guy is from Ghana, but he lives in Chicago. He's praising him in the Ghanaian main language, which is called the Akan language. I don't understand most of the stuff he's saying because it's deep, the deep traditional language. I'm used to the counterfeit traditional language. That's what I studied, But when I listen to what he's saying, he's talking some deep proverbs about this man and praising him for what he did, not only for Ghana, but for Africa. So this is the speech he gave on the Independence Day of the liberation of Ghana. And that was the day he named the country Gold Coast, brushed it off, and decided to call it Ghana in his speech. And what I admire about his speech is that he called Ghanaians for rising up and taking their places to build up their own nation. So far, the British have come in. It was the Portuguese, and there was no change. The people were now living poverty to poverty, and all they see is that their gold, their diamonds, and the cocoa, And for cocoa, I have a lot to say about cocoa because my parents and my mom's side, they own about 30 acres of cocoa. And in the town where my mom's mom is from, that was a town where they have the largest cocoa processing plant, called Wakri. I've been there when I was a kid. My mom took me there. So all the cocoa in Ghana is taken to Wakri and processed and packaged for exports. So, the story about this is him on March 6, 1957. Remember this date, March 6, 1957.
There is a new African in the world. That new African is ready to fight his own battle and show that after all, the black man is capable of managing the whole affairs.
He said, black man is capable of managing his own affairs. 1957. And since then, they've been trying to rebuild a nation that they felt comfortable for themselves, right? And then what happened is that his presidency didn't last. When he came in, he built dams, there was electricity, school was free. I was privileged. I went to school for free. Primary school was free, middle school was free, secondary school was free, hospital was free. Kwame Nkrumah in his study found out that the only way to get Ghana out of the hump was through what he called scientific socialism. It wasn't socialism, it was scientific socialism. Government is responsible to take care of its people. So school was free. So you see Ghanaians, man, don't play with them. They are very well educated. They are very smart. Ghanaians are very smart people, very well educated, because school was free. Everybody went to school. Everybody had the privilege to go to school. There's no, why are you there going to school for? No. Not the things we see here in America, no. Hospital was free. It was a privilege that you go to hospital. You don't need to be rich to go to hospital. Things have changed these days, because there are a lot of private hospitals and things that have been built. But at the time when he was the president, Ghana really saw advancement in the society. He built so many stuff. The dam that he built, I was privileged to go there, when my mom died in 2033. I went to visit the dam for the first time. And the only question I kept asking myself is that, why didn't they take us when we were in school to go see this marvelous piece of stuff that he built? The dam that provides electricity to the country. Because it would have changed a lot of us how we feel about our country. If we have seen some of the things that he done. And there was a building that he built that now is, they've named it the Golden Jubilee, 50 years of Ghana's independence. The present president changed it from the flat, we call it the Flagstaff House. That's what he called it. But when Ghana celebrated 50 years, the now president changed the name to the Golden Jubilee, the Flagstaff House. And that building was like that. It used to be at that time when I was there, the tallest building in Ghana was 12-story building. Really nice building. But in 1966, something happened. As a matter of fact, before that happened, Kwame Nkrumah was okay. There was different political parties there, but he started becoming where power corrupts. This is where human beings, you cannot give power to one person. You can't do that. We live under it. We understand it. America should be privileged. You never lived under it, so you don't understand it. Nkrumah decided that he was going to be president for life. And then he also stated that anybody who opposes him, enemy of the state, you're going to be thrown in jail. You sleep in 5 in the morning, you're gone, you vanish. And things that we experience, we see it. And then all of a sudden, that became unpopular among the people that believed in him. When he decided he wanted to have a one-party state, all that stuff. Then meanwhile, he was attached to Russia, he was attached to China, he was really using these countries to help his people. But the U.S. didn't see it that way, because to them it was between communism and capitalism, democracy. So the UN had a way of, the United States had a way of really trying to go after these African leaders to be democratic, instead of being Russia. So most of these leaders, they didn't care where the money was coming from because they wanted to develop their country. But the U.S. didn't see that. When I came here and I saw exactly his mentality, I read his book, I saw where he was at, just to help his people. But unfortunately for him, he left Ghana in 1966 to go, when there was a Vietnam War, to go to Hanoi to try to talk on behalf of whoever he went to talk to about peace in the Vietnam War. And behind his back, not knowing the CIA was plotting to overthrow him, they got in touch with the British, the French, and they all came together and found some traders among the military and paid them $1 million to overthrow him in the first ever coup in Africa. So the first ever coup in Africa happened when Kwame Nkrumah was out of the country. The military overthrew him, and they declared that the military was in power. So I was in 1960s. I was in private school, in a boarding school, elementary school. What happened was that the propaganda, and I'll use this word a lot because propaganda, you guys do not understand, you don't know. The propaganda of the West into countries like Africa is huge, it's massive. They will tell you that the bed you sleep on is not good. Don't sleep on it. And you go sleep on the floor and leave the bed. The propaganda was so huge that the way they portrayed Kwame Nkrumah, I remember how the whole country went against a guy. All of a sudden, nobody liked him no more. His statues were broken down. They destroyed everything. My father was smart. When he heard that Kwame Nkrumah had been overthrown, he called us all to the living room to tell us. And in front of telling us, my father collapsed on the floor. He has so much love for this guy because he had invited him to join his government. But my father declined because he thought it wise to rather go into business and try to help his tribal people control the economic agenda in the country more than being part of the government. So he declined, and he has so much love for him because he helped my father them get, a lot of business licenses and stuff. So he passed it on to all his friends. So in my country, the richest people in the country are called the Kwawus. That's my father's tribe. And the Kwawus are just perfect Jews. Perfect Jews. Everything about the Jews, the Kwawus do the same thing. They teach their children. If you're a Kwawu, you're never going to be poor in the country. You're never going to starve in that country. All you have to do is go to a business owned by a Kwawu, and you're an apprentice immediately before you realize you have your own business. So the Kwawus really, they reverence my father. My father was one of the top guys among them. So for me, life in Ghana is very easy for me because when I go to Ghana, because of my father and stuff, life is so simple. You went to Ghana, you know what it is. In Ghana, I'm like the Kennedys in Ghana. When I go to Ghana, I have a different privilege, because when they look at my last name, it's a whole different privilege. So Nkrumah had done more for my father. So when he was overthrown, the first thing my father said, that Ghana is finished. And it collapsed. So then after Nkrumah was all this military, we call them military juntas. Ghana went through a phase of anybody who has a gun, if a bunch of thugs can go to one radio station. And it's funny, Ghana had like one radio station, one TV station that was for the whole country. So you can just go and seize power at the radio station, you control the Ghana. All you have to do is announce, we have taken over Ghana, and everybody freezes, okay? And down the line, you see all these coups. It's crazy. Ghana was going through a lot of coups, and they will have maybe 2 years of democracy, and they go back, until one guy showed up. And this guy who showed up, where is he in the picture? This man here, his name is Jerry Rawlings. And Jerry Rawlings showed up with a different attitude, because in Accra, growing up in Accra, there were a high class of people we call the Apaches. The Apaches were privileged, young, brilliant, boarding schooled, well-educated young people. They dress nice, they cool. Those are your cool people. I was an Apache, by the way. So they call us the cool people. We were so bright, we were so well-educated that when we walk, we get all the girls. And Apaches get all the girls. If you have a business and you want to succeed, you go call Apaches. When they start patronizing your business, everybody follows. So he was the first guy, Apache, ever to hold power in Ghana. So his thinking was different. Even though he was a military revolutionary, because a lot of bad things happened under him, which I'm going to say one of the things that, because when he became power, he called some people enemy of the state. And these were judges and people who resisted whatever laws and things they put together. Anytime a military government came, they don't rule by constitution, okay? They don't rule by laws. They make up their own rules, they make up their own laws. So if you don't go by the laws, you are in trouble. So there were these judges who opposed them to their face because of the laws they had. You know something? 5 a.m. in the morning, they vanished. They found them dead, buried, and they burnt them to ashes. Nobody even could relate them. This is the danger in humanity of when one person has unchecked power, like he can do whatever he pleases. We live under it. We saw it. You Americans have never experienced it before, so you numb to things like that. These judges, one of them is my friend's, mom. 5 a.m. in the morning, the soldiers, the military people go there, pick them up from their houses, nobody know. And they vanish. And they find their ashes down the drain. Okay? So these are the judges over here. And then there was another guy who was a military guy who also opposed them. He also was, found dead, bent. They couldn't even recognize them. Okay? So in Ghana, they named the Supreme Court house after them, and they put their statues in front of the Supreme Court in Ghana. Because everybody really loved their stand for justice, because the motto of Ghana is freedom and justice, which is really interesting. Ghana's motto, and they saw this all over Africa, freedom and justice for all. And so when you take away judges like that, it put a lot of scare into people, so nobody can challenge the government. So, if you want to say something, people, hey, if somebody hears, they'll come and pick you up. So growing up in Ghana, this was even in high school. You can't say nothing because people, hey, somebody here will let you. So people were very, very numb to resistance or say anything, And the good thing about how God works, and for me, it's like when I pay attention to what God is doing, I get more excited, So Rawlings, because I grew up in the city, I knew a lot of people around him, and I knew him and stuff like that. My older brothers were Rawlings classmates, but around him were people that I grew up with. So they, like I said, my father was famous, and I was a rock star in high school, so my name was good in high school. So I got a call from the top guys around Rawlings saying that they need to talk to me from London. And I said, what is the problem? What have I done? Because, hey, the military people are calling you. You have to be scared. What are they calling you for? And he said, no, my name is. I said, oh, my buddy, how are you? He said, oh, we realized that we want to help the entertainment industry in Ghana. and you're the only first person who we know that you're a Ghanaian who studied entertainment in America. So we're reaching out to you to come and help us, solve the primary. And the first thing came up with my mind is that you don't need me to solve entertainment problems. You got more serious problems than entertainment. Why you need me for entertainment? And then God comes and slaps me and says, no, don't say that. Tell them that they should give you some time to think about it. Okay. So I went, I said, can you give me some time? I'll think about the offer. And by me holding them up, God put on my heart that you should go and convince them to privatize the press and the freedom of media. And I'm like, wow, what a brilliant idea. So immediately God said, this is who you need to go. It's amazing. You're a Christian. Now I'm going to tell you about faith. Like certain things you hear, people ask, how do you hear God? No. He said, you should go see Congressman Hayes and talk to Congressman Hayes about giving you all the documents in the U.S., Congress for FCC licenses on media and stuff. I went to Congressman Hayes' office on the south side. He asked me, son, what are you doing? I said, God told me to come and see you. And he said, for what? I said, God is sending me to Ghana to go talk to these military people about privatizing the press, and media. And he said, I should come to you. You can help me with some, American licenses on FCC and all that. He said, no problem. Come to me in 2 weeks. I went. He had all these books lined up for me, And because of my work in Chicago, I knew all the top people in Chicago. And then so I had to go see the top radio station guy who was my friend about how can Ghana have a radio station like that can broadcast all throughout Africa. So he got some lawyers together. They helped me so I put a whole documentation of American media and everything together. I was prepared. And then I'm like, I need a sponsor. And God said, don't you know that your Ghanaian friend is a millionaire, don't know what to do with his money? Go talk to him. So I went to my friend and told him my story. And he's a big shot, he like big things. He said, what do you want me to do? I need you just to be the sponsor. We go to Ghana and convince them to privatize the place. So for short, we went to Ghana under the invitation of the military government. Because remember, I told you that Ghana has one radio station and one TV, and it was easy for anybody to overtake the country by going to overtake the race. So the deal was that if they have multiple radio stations and multiple TV stations, now you need to really go so far to want to overthrow the whole country, because you can. You can be speaking to one radio station. People who are listening are maybe 100,000, right? So that was the key. And this happened to be one of the most powerful reasons why Ghana turned democratic country, and up to now is the only solid democratic country in the country, because they have freedom of the press. They have so many journalists, TV stations, radio stations. And what is interesting, I was the first person that they offered to own a radio station and a multimedia, broadcasting unit in Ghana. My father saw the whole thing and he looked at me and he laughed. He said, son, I know you. You don't like money. You don't follow money. You're just like me. You're just going to get up and leave and go to, back to America because you did this for the people of Ghana. And it happened. Had I followed that, I wouldn't have met my beautiful wife. Because the privilege was huge. I was the first person in Africa probably to own and I had a sponsor, I had a backer. We are supposed to build a CNN type of, media that focuses on black entertainment, black sports, black politics all throughout Africa, And I turned it down and came back to the United States, But it wasn't stopped there. The World Bank calls me and said, we heard you went to Ghana to convince Rawlings government to privatize the. How did you do that? They said, we can help you go. I said, no, I'm done. So that's what happened in Ghana. And today, the president of Ghana has a population of around 35 million. Okay? The president's name is Nana Akufo-Addo. And Nana Akufo-Addo happens to be a relative of my mother. They are all from the same royalty family. That's why she's a queen mother, So I found out this after my mother died, that my mother was really from one of the prestige royal families in the country, you know. And the president now, my mother has the same last name, Ado. That's my mother's name, Ado. You know, so they're from the same royalty home and stuff. So he is now the president of Ghana. And like I said, the motto of Ghana is freedom and justice. And the currency in Ghana is called cedi. Cedi is the version of American dollar. Okay? And religions in Ghana is 49% Protestants, 22% Christian, and 20% Islam. The one thing about Ghanaians is that you cannot tell them anything against God. You are rich. If you go into Ghana and said, stop praying in schools, you are rich. If you go into Ghana and say you cannot pray, no, anything against God, you are a Cain. You know, so Ghana and religion is top-notch. It's top-notch. If you're a God-fearing person, you can hang out in Ghana because Ghanaians love peace. It's the only country in Africa that has never been at war with his neighbor or against itself. It's a peaceful country, and you guys have been to Ghana, right? Isn't Ghana a peaceful country? Like, you do not, when I'm in Ghana, I don't look, in Chicago, I have to look at my back all the time. When you're in Ghana, you don't. You know, it's strange. When I'm in Ghana, I don't care where I am. I don't look behind my back. You know, but it's the privilege that they want to preserve, that they preserve, that God has blessed them, because there are always people on their knees praying. That's why I said they don't pray with God. And with the Muslim population in Ghana, Ghana does not have conflict with his fellow Muslim. No, there's nothing like that. You know, Ghana is the only country where religion, people live peacefully, no matter what kind of religion background you are. You know, a lot of things they don't tolerate. If it's against God, trust me, you cannot go in there and tell them to do anything contrary to God. The whole country goes crazy about it. You know, but as far as it's honesty and something gentle, the Ghanaians, yes. And Ghana flag, this is really the Ghana flag, okay? You know, and the Ghana flag is red, gold, green. And as you said, the red represents the fight for independence, right? It's the blood shed for the fight for independence. Remember, they were doing okay before the British and all these people came in. So they went through a lot of sacrifice to fight to reclaim their own country and be self-governant to rule their own country. And then the gold represents the country's mineral wealth, which is the gold. As of today, Ghana is the leading supplier of gold in Africa. It's the world's leading supplier of gold in Africa. And then the green represents the rich forest. You know, Ghana also exports a lot of wood, timber, a lot of wood. They export a lot of wood out of the country. I don't know why they haven't run out of wood, because when I was a kid, they were exporting wood, and they still exporting wood. So they replant the woods. You know, they cut them down, they replant them. So it's something that is there. And then the black star signifies African freedom. One thing that Kwame Nkrumah did that I think I live by it is he was first Africa, then Ghana. He died for the fact that he preached African unity, because he saw that if Africa unites, they have more strength and they have more capacity to trade and build the economy and do better things. So he said something that really impacted everybody growing up. Like, and we still say it in high school, everybody says it, like, the independence of Ghana is meaningless unless it is tied up to the total liberation of the African continent. This man was insane. He saw things that, it's like, that's why I say, when God calls you, you're special. Some people are just special. You know, he was an Abel. He was a special guy, you know. So the black star, that signifies, you know, African unity and strength, basically, really. In my house, when you come to my house, the first thing when we bought the house, moved from Chicago, I told my wife that I wanted a black star. As soon as you enter the door, there's a black star in front of you. And I said, all the kids, when they see the black star, they have to excel. You know, they have to see that they are somebody. They have to excel. So that Black Stars means a lot. The Ghana football team, you know, which is football, which we call soccer, it's like the greatest thing in Ghana. Football, the passion. The team is called the Ghana Black Stars. And they are reverenced all through Africa, everywhere. You know, the pride, the Ghana shipping lines is called the Black Stars. You know, Black Star is a pride. Like, you know, when Ghanaians use the word black, it's different than how black people see black, okay? You know, it's just the fact that it emphasizes who they are as God-centered people. They are capable of taking care of themselves and doing great things. You know, so that's my interpretation. Now, this is the government structure. The government operates under 1992 Constitution established under the military government. Now, once the privatization of the press was done, now I was able to talk to them about lifting out the ban on politics, because now people can own radio, so nobody can go to one radio station to make it. So everything had to make sense to these people. Remember, when you come from abroad, you black or white, they don't care. You can't come and dictate to them. But for some strange reason, I had privilege, and they respected me, and when I say something with my passion and everything, they believe. So I told them, you have to leave the ban on politics, and straight away, they lifted the ban on politics. They had to go, you know, put people together to write the Constitution, the first Constitution of the country. I believe I'm the only probably Ghanaian in Chicago who has a Constitution because of the work I did, you know. So they gave me a bunch of them. I kept like 3 in the house, and she brought one. You know, I have a Constitution of Ghana, you know, in my house. So, you know, it's very strange. Like, I went there reading a few of them. I said, man, this country, they got some really nice Constitution. They followed the American Constitution, but catered to the culture and the privilege of the people of Ghana. So what Ghanaians did smart is that American calendar of politics, you know, they took the same concept and adapted it and framed it for their own. So they have the president serves 2 4-year consecutive terms if you get reelected. You know, so every 4 years there's election. If you get reelected, fine, but you got 2 terms and you're out. The next person comes. And that has been a privilege for Ghanaians, because now you come in and you do small thing, somebody comes in and do small thing. And that was what the Rollins guys were telling me. Said, oh, Ben, by the way, the Ghanaians, they don't know me by Ben. They don't call me. They call me Alonzo. That was my nickname from Ghana. So if you see a Ghanaian, say you saw Ben Osafo talk, who is he? You see Alonzo. Oh, Alonzo, man, I know Alonzo. You know. So they all call me. That was my nickname growing up. So the brilliance about what the Ghanaians did was that they built their own structures. This is the parliament. You know, the local government is divided into 6 administrative regions, which are subdivided into districts, municipalities, metropolitan areas, local government. That was it. They made everything for political reasons, just like in America. They followed the whole American structure. Ghana's election was supposed to be November 5th, but they changed it to December 7th. So every 4 years, December 7th, they have the election. If you get November 5th, American is too distractive, so they move it to December 7th. So they're having election December 7th in Ghana. And the beauty about Ghanaians is that the people running, probably, they all went to school. They're all friends. They hate each other running, okay? They're all running for, as soon as they finish it, they shake hands, they go drink some beer, they're friends. That's Ghana. Even through the political turmoil and things, and Ghana is just like the United States, 50-50. You know, there's 2 strong parties, you know, that control 50-50. So you better do your job or you're out of office. You know, a lot of Ghanaians don't like it, but I love it. You know, it's like, yeah. So the present Ghana today amazes me with the way the country is moved to build infrastructure all over the country. This week, they just revealed the fast train line, you know, electric train in Ghana. It's unbelievable. It travels from one end of the country to another country, So you see Ghana right now is transformed. I went there, I was driving when I was in Ghana, but everything is, the highways, everything is so changed. They've developed the country in such, remember Ghana is only about what? 60-something years old. The US is 200-something years. So they have a long way to go. But the improvement they're doing on their own, the whole city, the bustling, everything. Some people even say Accra is like Miami, on a party night. You go to Accra, there's a lot of fun and everything to see. So, we go to the economy of Ghana. And we all know Ghana has oil now. So oil is part of their exports. The GDP in Ghana approximately is about 80 billion. It's not that much. 11th in Africa. South Africa is number 1. South Africa is a big country, and the economy has been really like growing for so long, and it's 403 billion. Inflation rate is 21.1. The inflation in Ghana is crazy, And the one thing that Ghana leaders like to do, and I'm going to open your eyes again, it's called tariffs. Any leader who comes to Ghana, they want to impose tariffs. We call it VAT, value added tax. They think everything is coming to the country must be punished so that people will be discouraged not to buy them. But if you want a car, Ghanaians, now they manufacture cars in Ghana. But before, you import a car from America to Ghana, they charge you 40% tariff tax. It's called value added tax. The car dealer is not going to pay for it. You, the one who want it, will pay for it. So things are expensive in Ghana. That's why the inflation rate is so high. They can't control it, But now a lot of things are getting is because there's a lot of manufacturing going on in Ghana, and things are being developed in Ghana and stuff. So this is cars made in Ghana. I'm thinking about you see the Tesla front, all the cars are dead. The cars are amazing. Like, look at this truck. You see the SUVs, it's like, man, but it's funny. The guy who started a manufacturing company said he got a vision from God. He's a pastor preacher. He owns a church. He got that he has to do something to show the Ghanaians that they can do exploits, like they can do. So he started this car manufacturing company. And when you see the cars they build in Ghana, and they are like 50% cheaper. These are Teslas. You see the inside, these are like Teslas. And the most expensive is like 20-something thousand. So right now, Ghana is really enjoying the privilege of self-development, self-determination, and I'm so proud to be a Ghanaian. And then the cultural heritage in Ghana. I was not really a culture guy. Remember, we the Apaches were not culture people. We the Apaches, we like to show up, dress nice in suit or in our jeans and all the fashion in America, we wear everything like the Apaches. So this outfit, I just started wearing because there's a Ghanaian guy who plays for the Cleveland Browns. He's a football player. But he dresses the finest Ghanaian outfits before he goes to the locker room, put on his gear, and go kick some butts on the field of football. And I showed it to my children. Where did he get this outfit? He's the finest gun. He dresses like this, so sharp. And he's made all the first believers, okay? So now I'm a believer. I wear them. So this is the Flagstaff House before it was called, and then the president changed it to, he calls it the Golden Jubilee after the 50-year celebration of Ghana. This is Kwame Nkrumah. This is where he was buried. So the Ghanaians, unfortunately for Kwame Nkrumah, he died of prostate cancer. But remember, when the coup happened, he never came back to Ghana in 1966. He ended up in Guinea, but something happened when he was president in Ghana. He formed alliance with Guinea, Mali, Ghana, Guinea, Mali. Ghana, Guinea, Mali. Ghana and Guinea, Mali were one country. And he was the head of the 3 countries. So when they overthrew him, the Guinea president invited him to come and be a co-president of Guinea. So he lived in Guinea until, he contracted, I think it was prostate cancer. And then, they took him to Romania for, to be cured, and he died at 66. The Ghanaians went through a lot of different transitions. They didn't go for his body until Jerry J. Rawlings, the Apache president, became a president. And he said, no, we got to really bury this man the right way because he belongs to Ghana. I went to this place. I was blown away what they built for him. Like, there's a museum underneath the whole thing, and his burial site is there. They put a statue. It's so beautiful. It's like, yes, finally, they laid him to rest. So this is a tourist attraction in Ghana. You have to go to there. And this didn't come out early, but I have to talk about this, okay? This is the slave castles that the Portuguese built in order to transport slaves through Africa. It's sad. One of my stepmom was from that tribe, and she was a queen mother. So we had the privilege to go there, and we dare not go into it. It was that scary for us, But they had this part, though. Read it. Dungeon, where slaves were left to die by starvation and torture in their own country. In their own country. When you enter this place, you still smell the skin of dead people. Even today. So a lot of African Americans go on tour in Ghana, and when they end up here, their lives change. Their lives change. Because it reminds you of so many things, but then what you're thankful for. That's why I started with the word Cain and Abel. This is the case. You are in somebody's land, you're taking their people, you're just giving them some peanuts to get away, and then you build castles, and you still treat them like that. So in today's Ghana, what Ghana is done is that to reverse the whole order. So if you are a diasporan living all over the world and your descendants are from Africa, you can go to Ghana and be a citizen right now. And they'll give you free land, they'll change your name, give you a Ghanaian name, all that stuff. So it's a lot of people going back to Ghana and starting businesses in Ghana and living in Ghana. So it's the reverse of the order. And sometimes God, and I come to see that whatever God does or whatever, evil try to do, in all things God works together for the good. It just turns out that God will change the order. And today, you go to Ghana, I don't care who you are. When I was growing up, we didn't know nothing about it. We didn't call anybody white or black. It wasn't my word till I came to America. You're either European, you're French, you're German. We use those words to describe people, from different countries. We never say he's a white, because it doesn't make sense to me. Who is white over here? Nobody's white. You wearing a white shirt, right? You wearing white. That's white. I think I'm pretty much one of the darkest Africans, because when I was growing up, I think I was really dark, and I was proud of my darkness because I thought I was the only African for real, But there's a lot of light-skinned Ghanaians and, all kinds of shapes and, and stuff. So, that aspect of this here, for me, pissed the hell out of me, because they didn't get nothing for it. But the Ghanaians were smart. This thing still is there. They preserve these things now. You can go there and just go visit how human beings can just be Cain. But there are some human beings who come at them and they'll come and change things. And then you go, this place is the biggest market in Ghana. Fortunately for me, my mother had, his business aligned here, so I frequent here all the time. My mother was into the dye business. So if you want to dye your hair or things like that, you have to go to her business, and she supplied the whole Ghana and the whole Togo with hair dyes and stuff and things like that. So this Mokla market it's a place where you go, but unfortunately, when the military government came up, they were mad because they thought the Mokla women, Ghana women are very hardworking and they are traders. I don't know any Ghana woman who don't want to be in business or do something. When you go to Mokla, you see how hard these people sit in the sun and they're doing business, but their kids are going to universities and stuff. Ghana women are productive, and so, we use the word Mokla woman. When we say somebody is a Mokla woman, that means that she's industrious and very ambitious and very family. She takes care of family, work hard and take care of her family. Then, the tallest, highest mountain in Ghana is called Afajato, Mountain Afajato. And around Mountain Afajato is this beautiful waterfalls, So it's one of the, tourist centers in Ghana, and it borders Ghana and Togo. Togo is probably on the other side. The Togo and Ghana, Togo is a very small country, and I don't know why they didn't make it really into Ghana, because most Togolese speak the same language as the people close to them in Ghana, And I remember when my mother took me there, we had to just use there's what do you call it? The stuff that crosses the water. You have to put your car on it, and then you cross, because there was no bridge at that time. Ferry, So now they have a beautiful bridge that crosses it. Now this is the dam that Kwame Nkrumah built in Ghana. For the first time when I went to my mother's funeral in 2013, my brother-in-law, took me there to see, and I was marveled by just being there to see the dam that supplies electricity to Ghana and to Togo, certain different countries, And that was what was built by the president. The British didn't do that. The Portuguese didn't do that. They didn't supply us with anything for electricity. The Ghanaians built these things themselves. Everything that they did, was on self. Then this beach, this is a famous beach. My wife loves this beach because we went to Ghana when my father died in 2002 or something like that. 2001. And we spent a lot of time on the beach because there's always music and dance and good food over there, So, yeah, Labadi Beach Hotel is a 5-star hotel. 5-star hotel, and you control the beach. There's always festivals, there's always food and things like that. So, when we went to Ghana, can you show that picture? So, this is the wife at Labadi Beach. That's my sister in Chicago. So we spend a lot of time over there because, hey, why not? Go lie on the beach and eat some good food and enjoy it. She had a good time in Ghana. She really had a good time in Ghana. My mother showed a picture of you and my mother because it's later. Okay, now I'm going to go to this story. This is Anansi. Anansi, when we were growing up, it's a folklore story, and every Ghanaian knows Anansi. This Anansi, one story that we heard which was funny, the king wanted to, give his daughter, to anybody who can eat the hardest pepper on the land. So they prepared the hardest food. And Anansi thought about it, said, I think I should go try for this, So Anansi goes to the king palace and everybody eat the pepper. Ooh, when you say, that's it. If you open your mind and say, you lose a competition. Anansi devised a scheme. It's always devising schemes, okay? So Anansi goes to this competition, and then when he eats the pepper, he will start to sing a song. I'm not the one, it's in the Ghana language, but I'm going to translate as much as I can. I'm not the one who eats this pepper and go, who. I'm not the one who eats this pepper and go. So Anansi was able to eat the whole food. This is him. He's always conniving and scheming. So, in the stories in schools and stuff. I think we brought a book of his. There are, folklore stories books that talks about him. And interestingly, the slaves that went to Jamaica were from the Ashanti tribe. And today, I hear it's a big story in Jamaica among the African descendants. Anansi, the story still lives on, because he was so huge growing up. He was like Superman. This is our Superman. And then the traditional dance in Ghana depends upon what kind of tribe you are from. They have different dances. And this one is the most popular one called Adua. And Adua is from the tribe called Akan. And the Akan people, it's my people. Like, I don't know my people anymore, but in Ghana, I always say first, when somebody asks where you're from, I said I'm from Africa. I always call myself Africa, and then privileged to be from Ghana. So this is a dance that it's a talking dance. Everything they're doing says something. It means something. This looks like a funeral. When you see Ghanaians dressed in black and red, it's a funeral. When they dress white in the funeral, the person is an elderly person, and they go to celebrate life. But the red and black, I can tell it's a funeral, and they have the cultural dances. In Chicago, we have the same thing. We have cultural dances. Some of our children have learned how to do it very brilliantly. And there's a Ghana festival in Chicago. They come and they do the dance. So in any Ghanaian community you go, celebration, there's the Adwa dance. And it's brilliant where they coordinate and they do others. I don't know how to do well, but, they do something like that. It means a lot, And that's Tasha in a family house trying to learn how to do the Adwa. As you see, she's doing it the foreign way, She tried. The kids were having fun with her. They loved her in Ghana. When she went to Ghana, boy, oh my God, they loved her. She was in love with her. She was sitting on the floor with the kids. I have brothers in America, okay? They all married to, foreigners. And their wives are all bourgeois, They don't want to mingle. Tasha is all, with the kids, with everybody. She was so beautiful. Like, I was so proud. My mother wouldn't let her go anywhere. My mother is sitting there. She had to sit by her side. My mother is dancing. She has to dance by her side. It was beautiful. We had such a good time. This is the Ashanti chief of today. The Ashantis, like I said, they are proud people, okay? And their tradition, the way they just honor their culture, beautiful. They are keen. This man travels, when you see the gold, like pure gold, because that in Ghana is one of the world's leading gold, but Ashanti is where most of Ghana gold comes from. So he is the king. So he's going to be dressed in pure gold, okay? You see all these hip-hop guys, they put on chains and stuff like that. Don't follow the hype. This man's gold is pure gold. Here is what you see. Look at it. It's here. It's what do you call it? What do you call that? The rings. Man, big stacks of gold. Look at it from here. Normally he wear it from here all the way to here. Pure gold. Ghanaians don't play. And this is the kente cloth. In Ghana, the kente cloth is the distinguished cloth in Ghana. So before, it was only privileged people or kings and stuff have to wear the kente cloth. So I don't know if you paid attention to a lot of college celebrations. They will have the kente cloth on their neck because of the prestige. You graduated, so a lot of people like to, put it on their neck, And the kente cloth is woven by, some talented folks, They weave it. They have their own, factory, and they weave it. And my father was such a smart businessman. When he saw something that was prosperous, he had to do something. So in his village, he had a factory that weaved kente. You He took us there when we were kids to go see it. We were like, you didn't tell us that you own a factory like this. So they were weaving kente, and they do it brilliantly. They weave it. You can do the crazy. You can learn how to weave kente. Because you do weaving, she does it very well. Yeah. And then these are instruments in Ghana. Unfortunately, when I was in Ghana, I wasn't a musician. I just, in high school, we formed some real band just for the girls. That was the only thing. So we had a band, we were in high school. So, hey, you want to be famous, you got to play music. So there was a competition in the country, and me and my friends, we put a band together. And I learned some 6 chords on keyboards. I was a keyboard player. And we were pretty good. So we won the whole country's, trophy for being the high school rock and roll band. So that was good. So I became a rock star, This instrument, this is called a talking drum. Talking drum is used a lot in Nigerian Afrobeat music, today's music, talking drum. The goji fiddle, we brought one. One is over there, the goji fiddle. And xylophone, Ghana, their music, they like the xylophone for, rhythm and stuff and things like that. And this, the beat, the inyante, it's the shake it, and it makes a lot of, we have some over here like a shaky. Okay, go ahead. She want to talk about it. These designs are interesting because they are symbols of designs in Ghana. And this one particular, right? Jinami, omnipotence of God. Except God. Jinami, except God. Omnipotence of God. My son, football player in Indiana State University, a master's degree graduate, decided to tattoo it on his left shoulder. Football player. So he calls it that one. So it is becoming popular for people to do tattoos. But he chose that because he better choose something that is positive, Except God. Yeah. And then there is a tradition in Ghana about how you shake hands. And in Ghana, one thing about Ghana is that please do not put your left hand to no Ghanaian. No left hand. You shake, you start from here, the right hand, and you start to shake from the right hand. Every time you go to Ghanaian community, Ghanaians, you shake hands from the right side. Okay? You start from there. And one day, one of the kids in Chicago chastised me from shaking from the left side. I'm always breaking rules, okay? And I got mad at him and chewed him up right in front of me, okay? I'm the only one who can do that. But in Ghana, the right hand means a lot. You do not eat with your left hand. You cannot eat with your left hand in Ghana. No, it's impossible to eat with your left hand. You must eat with your right hand. Because the left hand for Ghanaians is the hand that you use to clean your butt. You don't use your right hand. So you cannot, after that, use that for hygienic sake, okay? Your right hand is the hand that you have to use. So in Ghana, left-handed writers in school were trained to use their right hand to write. So a lot of friends that I know even my own brother, he was left-handed. He writes in right hand. They train them, so right hand, that's the tradition in Ghana. There's a lot of languages in Ghana. We have the Kru English, which is the backward English. Then I speak Ga, which is the city language, and I speak Twi, which is my father and my mother's language. So those are the languages I speak. But then English is the national language in Ghana. So Ghanaians learn English at a very age because all schools, English is the books you're going to read, And then Ghanaian community in Chicago. This is my people in Chicago. The one thing about the Ghanaians is that when we migrated to Chicago, we quickly came together as one unit family. And we named, our body that controls the Ghanaian community, the Ghana Council. So we have one umbrella. And then all the different countries all have their chiefs. All the different tribes have their chiefs. So if you go to a Ghana fest, you see the chiefs are all parading. the Ashanti chief, the Ghana chief, all of them are parading. So we celebrate the culture. And an interesting story this week. I'll tell you how close-knit we are as Ghanaians. I was in Gary gas station pumping the gas. African-American lady walked straight to me. She goes, "Where are you from?" Normally, I lie. Because I grew up in Chicago, I grew up in Accra. I don't want to tell you I'm from Ghana and I don't know who you are. You're going to rob me or do something, okay? So I lie. I tell you I'm from Chicago, then you're scared of me. You know? But for some strange reason, I let it out. No, I'm from Ghana. And she goes, "My father is from Ghana. I'm Ghanaian too. But she look 100% African-American, okay? Nothing about that." So I said, "What's your father's name?" He said, "My father's name is Squatting." I said, "Oh, I know him. He's my very good friend." She goes, "Clink, clink, 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 clink." Calls him on the phone. And he says, "I got your friend here. His name is Alonso." "Oh, put him on the phone." That's the kind of, Ghanaians we are. We are very close-knit, okay? And then the Ghanaian food, some of the food we have over here, this is the kelewele. Kelewele is, how many people know about fly plantain? No, not fly banana. Plantains is the bigger banana, but it's not banana. So they carry it into chips, they carry it, and then they put seasoning on it, and they fry it. We have some over here for tasting, okay? And then this is the jollof rice. We also have jollof rice is rice mixed into tomato stew, cooked so delicious. The funny thing about jollof rice is that there's a fight about who has the best jollof rice, Ghana or Nigeria. It's like the football match, okay? So some people say Ghana has the best, some people say Nigerians. You ask Ghanaians, will say we have the best. Nigerians will say, so jollof rice is very famous in Ghana. It's better than shrimp fried rice, okay? Jollof rice. Then this is called suya. Suya is kebab. Everybody knows kebab. So Ghana, kebab is very, very, a delicacy that people like. And then there is this kontomire is like grain stew. Take grains and blend it into something. It's so delicious. This wife over here, I don't eat American food, okay? I'm sorry. She cooks me every Ghanaian dish that I want to eat. She knows all the Ghanaian dishes in the world. They get jealous. Chicken. She cooks all these things. Every dinner is Ghana food, okay? So it's a privilege to have a wife like that.
So we have contumere stew back there too, but we don't have actual access to contumere leaves, so it's made with spinach instead, but it's similar to that. And we also have soya, but it's going to be chicken wings with the soya spices in it. I'm just going to flip through these really quick. So.
And then there are different dishes in Ghana, so many.
Yeah. So, shito right there.
Banku. This shito is like black pepper, really nice. If you go to boarding school, your parents better give you shito, pepper.
I've got some, so you get to try it. If you like spicy food, you'll like the shito, but just use a little bit. So, but then let's.
Okay, I have to run through this.
Yeah,
this is my dad. This is me when I was probably like 3 years old, maybe 2 years old, something like that. And this is my beautiful mom. The interesting thing about my parents, like, my parents were very famous in Ghana, but my father was so unique that he found out that, the foreign, countries, they have zoos and they need animals. So he built a business. He had a zoo. I was the only kid in the whole country who had a zoo in my house. So he has spotted the animals. He didn't have any giraffes and things, but I think the biggest one was a chimpanzee. He has spotted them out. And my mother was a trader. They were God-fearing people. In my house, like, I don't know if I told you this story, but my father was probably the only person in the world that had his own private pastor come to his house 5 a.m. in the morning, Monday through Saturday, and do service 5 a.m. in the morning. So you know how my Christianity and all things develop. There's service every day, 5 a.m. in the morning. As long as you live under his roof, you have to be at service. And that's the story. And then this is maybe half of my family. my father had 3 wives. And in Ghana is the culture. The culture, allows you to marry as many wives. But he had 3 wives, and he had other children by other women and stuff. But this is my beautiful family. And growing up in our family, we didn't know steps. We didn't use the word steps. It was brother, sister. And my father's brothers died very early. And when they died very early, he adopted all their kids. So he probably had like maybe about extra 40 kids from his brothers and sisters that he adopted. And so we had a big family. So go on, as you go on, she's disease, and another small one, I think, that is disease. So some are alive. That's my father, and that's my older brother. He lives in Dallas. The oldest brother, he lives in Dallas. Go ahead. This is my family all over not all of them, but some of them all over the world. Now, some are in New York, Atlanta, Switzerland, Germany, London. Unfortunately, it's one of my brothers I came to in Chicago. He passed in Dallas 2 years ago. So we buried him in Dallas. And he's passed, she's passed. My mother's side, this is the girl who was before under me, and he was before him. That's what my mother said. That's the 2 that we lost. That's my elder sister. She's a doctor. She's a pharmacist. She lives in London. She's still in Ghana. And then this is my high school buddies. When I told you, look at me in high school. Apache. Look at the move. Clean, Apache. In Ghana, man, we are style. In high school, boy, we are style. So, go on. And then this is my wife in Ghana. Okay, watch this. We went to a factory that makes all this craft work for the walls and things. So as soon as they see my wife, hey, we can buy anything we want for cheap. They loved it. So we bought a lot of stuff for like $200. We couldn't even carry it. And that's my mom. Look at how close she's holding this kid. That's my mom. No, it's always smile for her, And these are twins. When they first saw my wife, they started to cry. Look at them. They were crying. That's my sister in Chicago. That's her daughter's kids. They saw my wife. They were crying all the time. Before we realized that they became her best friends. So go ahead, Elijah. And this is me and my buddies in high school. I went to at 7, I attended a school called Radiant 2 Preparatory School. And I have to say this quick. Radiant 2 School was a prestigious boarding school, primary school. And the motto of the school was, only the best people value with the best. So if you want to be the best, you have to value with the best. Up to today, I preach to all of them, and that's how I teach my kids. Like everything you do, you have to be at your best. When God said, go study music, like in Chicago, not to brag, I'm the top music producer over there. I just don't like money. So I have a bunch of Inglewood boys go make money, and they all start to kill each other, But that's the fun of it. He just died. He died in Chicago. Yeah, that's one of my best friends. He died in Chicago, from aneurysm. So we buried him here. But this is one of the richest guys in Ghana. It's one of my best. He owns the largest advertising company in the whole country, Ghana, him. And he went to school here, but he moved back to Ghana in Maxi. That's Orlando. So you see, look at how cool we look. We're on the tree. We are like the Beatles, rock and roll stars. This is high school, by the way. No, don't play with Ghana, man. Okay, go ahead. Now, when I came to America, this story is going to be quick because it's a long one. When I came to my journey to America was a very difficult one. I told you this, so you can share it later with them. You know, my hand out of the socket. I got a scholarship to come to America to go play soccer at Ohio Wesleyan. And unfortunately for me, I dislocated my shoulder 6 months before my flight to America. And they said they were going to do the surgery for me in Ghana. And I said, how long is it going to take? They says, maybe rehabilitation and everything, maybe 3 years. No way. I got to be in America. You don't know what you're talking about. So they said the option is to put it back and put a sling, and it might stay there for a while. But unfortunately for me, quick, at the airport when I was traveling, I tried to say goodbye, and my hand came off the socket. Painful journey. I had to transit to Nigeria to Germany for 12 hours flight. And in Germany, I had a 24-hour transit. My hand is out of the socket in the plane. No doctor didn't come. So I suffered on the plane for 12 hours, you know. And lucky for me, my mother said a prayer for me. And my mother said, a time in your life, you're going to need God. And when you call unto God, a miracle is going to happen. In the plane, when the pilot said, in 1.5 hours, we landed in Germany, it dawned on me that I cannot even carry my luggages. Man, is out of the socket. So, man, wherever God took me, for me, it was my salvation. Because a miracle happened to me. My hand went back in the socket. I ran, pick up my Bible and my rosary and everything my mother gave to me, and I heard it. I was completely changed from who I was in Ghana to who I arrived in Germany. When I arrived in Germany, I was totally transformed to the person. I was calm, quiet, you know, gentle, because the fear of God had come to me. So I call that my second birth of being a whole new person. Because I'm coming to brothers here, I'm talking to the men, I'm coming, we partying. Now, I'm gentle, quiet. What happened to you? No, I can't tell you on the phone. When I get there, I'll let you know. I saw Jesus in the plane. Are you crazy? No. I was dying and a miracle happened to me. So that's what brought me close to God. That transformation, for me, I was a preacher boy when I got out of the plane and landed in Germany. And then when I came to here, I was a preacher boy walking. And this is interesting because we are receiving Jet and Ebony magazine in Ghana. So that was how we developed our fashion and everything. So when I was coming, my brothers drove me through Lakeshore Drive, through Michigan Avenue. And I'm like, damn, America is beautiful. John Hancock, Michigan Avenue. Then it dawned on me that 820 South Michigan is the Ebony building because we get the magazine all the time. So I'm like, can you take me to the Ebony? After we cross the river, everything getting smaller, right? So me being a smart African, I'm like, why is everything getting smaller towards the south? Then my brother stopped at the Ebony building. Oh boy, I cried. I'm like, there are beautiful buildings in Ghana like this. We got taller buildings in Ghana than this building. And they had us worshiping this building, worshiping America. Hell no. Something wrong. This is when I really started to see the propaganda that they sold to us was so wrong. Then I ended up on the south side. Oh, disaster. Remember, I grew up, I was privileged. You know, I was in high school, I had my own brand new Audi. I was cool before I left to come here. You know, now I'm on the south side and I'm like, what is this? So one of my brothers told me that, bro, if you're going to survive in this city, you need to be Chicagoized to be recognized. Chicagoized to be recognized. You need to walk like them, man. What's up, man? What's up, bro? What's up? What's up? What's up? Then you recognize. But you go and say, oh, how are you, man? They hear you. I said, no, you're in trouble. So I couldn't get it. I came to America. Come on. Then I saw that there is not all that rosary about how they planted America in our mentality. You know, and then I said, no, wait a minute. I got to finish this one. Give me 5 minutes. I got to finish it. So then, this really allowed me to really remember only the best people value the best. I said, this is not going to define my life in America. So I work hard. I moved fast, I moved smart, and God kept me every move. Every move I made, God was in it. Even finding my wife, every move I made, God was in it. So my wife said, tell them about the story about the prophetess who predicted your life in America that you're going to meet an Asian woman. Isaiah 43. She said, Isaiah 43 will be your life. And everything in Isaiah 43 is my life. I read it and I cry. You know, how did he find out that I want to meet a woman from the East? I never did it an Asian before. But I told him the story. He said we had two stories. No, we had two little bit changed stories by the same story. You know, I met her in a club, the white hair. I gave her my number. She said I didn't give her my number, but I gave her my number. She didn't call me. A year later, I met her at the Ghana Fest. And as soon as I saw her, I recognized her. I heard her hand introduce her to all the Ghanaians that that's my wife. That's my princess. Everything on the spot. And everybody knows me in Ghana community. I do not lie. I do not do that. I never praise a woman in that capacity. But then, years later, we still here with three beautiful boys. I got a beautiful daughter, but three beautiful boys. Blessing. Let God rule. Let God always in control. It's always a blessing. At the end, it's exciting. So I'm going to end here. Thanking you all for coming here. Allow me to just preach to you about my beautiful Ghana and my beautiful journey in America. It ended pretty well, though. At the end, I found a beautiful wife. And in Chicago, really, I got awards for being the producer of the year, producer, everything. I was the only person in Chicago in history that changed the industry in Chicago by finding a bunch of young boys from Inglewood and empowering them with computer to make music. And the whole world started. 2012, it's documented in Chicago. You know, all that for the love of just doing good. You know, so in the end, America, God always takes everything to work together for the good to them that love God according to his purpose. That's why I stand here today. I can talk to you guys about the beautiful Ghana and my journey through Ghana. So thank you very much for letting me run my mouth.
Right hand, please. Thank you. So Ben's story, always interesting, isn't it? Can you believe he's our neighbor in Chesterton? And everywhere we look in Porter County, Northwest Indiana, Chicagoland, we have stories like Ben's that are always amazing. So happy that you guys heard that. And, you know, it's interesting. You mentioned how proud you were about how dark you are. And the interesting thing is that I don't know how to explain this, but we have 99.5% of the exact same DNA.
Yeah.
Or more.
It's true.
Yeah.
I read it in the,
So
in the history.
how is that possible? It's really amazing. So we're, you know, more similar than we are different. That's for sure.
This is why the Cain and Abel story is important. You know, because in all Abels, we are one. And then all the Cains are all one. So the human race is just that. Just that. You can be bad person, evil person, good person, but all the Cains and Abel. That's why I had to bring that into the picture. We all one, no matter what. Because if you're in Africa, you see that. You come to America, you don't see that. Which is bad for America, because when I first went to fill a job application, are you black or white? I was pissed off. Like, what do you mean? You know, so America, a lot of things too.
And Ben, remember, a few people over here have been to Ghana, but which is the Cain and which is the Abel side, in your opinion?
I think they're all the same, because, you know, man, I got some beautiful people here that are my buddies. I got some beautiful people here that are my brothers. So,
okay.
You know, what you learn is that if you understand the concept of what I'm saying, you cannot judge people just because you think they should be able or should be Cain. You judge by experiencing them.
So normally we have question and answers at this point, but Ben and his wife have pulled the story out of my hat, which has gone past the time, and the wife has had to cut him off. So in this case, we are going to have question and answers, as we always do, with him personally and privately after, because there's so much good food here that we cannot wait any longer for that. So just very briefly, Tasha, if you could tell us what we are eating.
Okay, this is Ghanaian salad, and it's lettuce, baked beans, dressing, eggs, tomatoes, cucumbers. This is jollof rice. This is the shito, the hot pepper. This is the contumere stew, but really made with spinach. It's vegetarian. It's got eggs in it, though, so if you don't eat eggs, you'll want to avoid that. And it's made with pumpkin seeds. Traditionally, they use something called egusi seeds, but we don't have that in Chesterton, so I had to use pumpkin seeds. And it's ground up and blended with the egg and then steamed. We've got the kili willy here, your fried plantains with the spices, the suya chicken, and then I made banana cake, and then banana cake with peanuts. Okay, and then there's juice over here.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Tasha. That's awesome. So again, if you haven't been here before, we're going to close the presentation part. Please stick around for socialization. You can talk to Ben and to Tasha and eat some great Ghanaian food. So remember, no Fourth Friday in December. We will see you again in January. Recording of this will be available by Sunday night on our website. And really appreciate you guys coming. Thank you. Take care.